What is good, people? I hope we're keeping well. Hope we are having a beautiful day, whatever day you're watching this on. It's a lovely morning here in Alicante. So I'm here in Alicante for Emma's third show of the season. So it's been a while since I have recorded a video, and that's simply just been I've been busy. Probably stuff that I realistically should have vlogged, but I just wasn't really thinking about it. So 2 weeks ago we were back in this exact same spot, in this lovely location. That's this golf resort that we're staying on at the moment, and I'm just out for a walk in the foothills that are behind it. So Emma did the Amateur Olympia 2 weeks ago, and she did amazing. So she came second in her class. The girl who won her class ended up going on to win the overall and win a pro card. And you know, obviously I'm biased, but myself and our coach Christian, we were both like, and of course Christian's biased too, we're like, oh, you know, very, very close one. Like in our opinion, Emma should have won. Steve Weinberger, who is the head judge of the Mr. Olympia competition, so, you know, one of the most respected judges in the world, he was actually judging the competition. He was the head judge for it, and he said it really could have went either way. It was very much like a split decision. So to know Emma got that close it's unreal to kind of see all of that kind of hard work kind of paying off, and you know, her getting to a level which, you know, I very much believe she can be. Emma is like just an animal when it comes to pretty much anything she puts her mind to. It's incredibly inspiring to be around her, and you know, definitely pushes me to be better. So we're back in Alicante because there is another show on this weekend. So we have the EmPro Classic on. So EmPro has amateurs on tomorrow, Saturday, and then you have pros on the Sunday. So the pro show is gonna have like a lot of like Olympia qualifications being handed out. So you have like the likes of Sas Haradi is completing. So he's an English bodybuilder, extremely huge. He's already qualified for Olympia, but I'm looking forward to seeing him on stage. Maybe might even catch him today in the gym, if I'm being completely honest. So it's going to be a good weekend. I'm really excited to see Emma up there because, you know, the feedback she got from the show was simply just turn up the exact same way she turned up at the Amateur Olympia. And, you know, if, you know, she's the best on stage, she will get the nod. So could mean a couple more shows though, because she's also looking at doing Portugal, potentially doing Milan. So busy few weeks of travel. And also last week I was at a wedding. So I was at a wedding from the Monday after Emma's show. So Emma competed on Sunday, and then I went straight out to Calp, which is about 30 or 40 minutes away from here, for a wedding. And that was 3 days of non-stop drinking. Not great for the fat loss goal, not great for the bodybuilding goal, but look, that's all my weddings out of the way for the year. So, you know, it is what it is. Bit of a slower week on the fat loss side of things as a result. So since we last checked in, my weight has went down quite a bit, right? So at the moment, this morning I was 93.9, yesterday 93.4. So that's nearly 8 kilos down since we started this fat loss process, since we started this bodybuilding process. And I'll throw up a video on screen, which is going to be from the future because I haven't done my video this week, of how the physique is looking. And you know what, I'm definitely starting to see it come together. I'm definitely noticing a lot more kind of fullness around my delts, fullness around my chest, fullness around my back. I'm just starting to look a little bit more like a bodybuilder. And of course this is during the dieting phase, which I'm not really expecting to have like new muscle being put on, especially as somebody who's advanced. But you know, when you can kind of see what the package looks like right now, and to imagine it with an extra little bit of muscle by the time I step on stage in 2027, yeah, it's pretty nice. And the fact as well, I have another 8 kilos or so to lose too, you know, so we're gonna get even freakier looking. There's been no change to the plan at all. Plan has remained the exact same. So we did have a slower week on the scales and with the visuals and with training overall after the weekend, after the week's antics of the wedding, but that's to be expected. You know, we weren't going to change anything, considering every other week leading up to that, progress is going in the direction that we wanted to. The diet was still working, training was still working. So it's just a case of saying, okay, this week, let's have a perfect week. So this Friday now, and it's been a pretty much perfect week so far, despite traveling to Alicante, which we drove here from Malaga or Marbella, and we're anticipating a pretty fucking good weekend. So I am just out for my steps now, as you can probably tell. Still have about 10 to 15,000 really to do per day. So we're going to be doing legs today, and that should be a handy one to get in this gym. So I'm training in Titan Fitness Alicante, which is an amazing gym, a proper bodybuilding gym. They have pretty much every piece of equipment that you could really need, and the place at the moment is, the atmosphere is class because you have everybody who's there who's competing, training. So you're seeing some absolute freaks there. But quite often during the last week of the competition, when people are peaking, they are not training legs. Fucking bugs. They're not training legs because when you train legs on peak week, quite often what happens is people carry a lot of inflammation within their legs, so it will kind of mask any of the separation or kind of deep cuts that people have within their legs. So people typically stave off from training them unless they are, you know, somebody like Emma who's competing in wellness. So during this week, she is still kind of training some glutes, some hamstrings, and some quads. And why would she train legs but like an open bodybuilder won't? Well, for her class, having like, you know, striated glutes on stage and like, you know, really deep cuts is not really the goal. The goal for her and her class is more kind of fullness around the tissue. Whereas for something like bodybuilding, it's like fullness and deep separation. Conditioning is very, very highly prized. So today should be fine for me training legs, lots of free equipment. So I will take you through that session because I haven't done that session yet on the channel. So yeah, I'm going to get the rest of this walk in because in a few minutes I'm going to be walking up hills and I'm going to be extremely out of breath. I'll catch you in the next clip, and we're just going to take you across this weekend because I've been very, very bad at vlogging these weekends. Anyway, monologue over, catch you soon. Oh, that was a sweaty walk. Going up hills in this heat is not easy. We're back in the apartment. I'm going to give you a little bit of an apartment tour because it's a pretty nice apartment. So, this is our living room. Nice 2 couches. Plenty of monster cans you're going to see littered around this house. I have a little washroom. A weird balcony, I guess. Alright, so this is the kitchen. You know, we had to bring the air fryer, we had to bring this because the last time we came here, the kitchen was like pretty much like completely bare. Like there's not a kettle, not a coffee machine. You know, we really just had like the oven and the microwave as well as the stove. And naturally enough, you know, we cannot go a day without having coffee, so we need to bring this guy with us. This is the kitchen fridge. Let me show you the fridge. What we have in here: monsters, chicken, beans, eggs, Pepsi Max, some milks. Yep, it doesn't look as good as it did in the first day, so probably shouldn't have showed you. And then we have our proteins, my carbs, cream of rice, have some other carb sources here. We have the likes of our cooking stuff, and then we have more carbs here: oats, powdered peanut butter, coffee pods, rice. Now, this is the other living space. This is kind of where we're doing a little bit of work. You're gonna have to delete out those. You probably can't see the needles there, but they are not mine. They're not mine. I'm still natty. Christian's room, Alex's room, which I'm not going to go into for privacy purposes. And then this is the master bedroom. Messy bed, messy sink, pretty decently sized shower. And then out here is our balcony. So I still have a table to work on, some more monster cans. have a nice long pool down here. I actually think this could be like a 50-meter pool. It's very, very long. Olympic size swimming pool. And then we also have this. Nice little rooftop here for us. Be nice if there was like some tables and chairs up here, maybe a barbecue. But yeah, that is, they're the scenes. Alright, breakfast time. Absolute banger of a meal. Bacon and eggs, tomatoes, mushrooms, fried eggs this time, as you got the bagel here. So I'm actually I'm not eating 5 meals to kind of simmer away with at home. Just my days are a little bit more kind of sporadic with being here, because we're doing a little bit of kind of going out and about. So I'm pretty much just having like 3 main meals throughout the day, and then having like maybe kind of like one snack to essentially just kind of hit my protein, which yesterday was like protein, cheese, salsa and chicken. It was actually quite nice. It was like a starter. So a bit more carbs for the first meal, because I'm having oats as well after this, because I'm gonna train in the morning, and then we don't necessarily know exactly what the rest of the day is gonna look like. So I'm just ensuring to get the majority of my carbs, a lot of protein in this first meal. Again, I think one kind of big thing that like people struggle when it does come to traveling is you don't anticipate what could happen during the rest of the day, and then at the back end of the day you could be just like chasing your tail with nutrition, or just not meeting your nutrition in general. And I guess it's different to if you're on holidays versus if you are just like traveling for work or traveling for an event like I am. Like, we're not here on holidays, like I'm still working, I'm still getting my training done, so I want to try to still stay on my plan as best I can. And the best way to do that is just like thinking ahead. Okay, what do I typically struggle to get in on a day-to-day basis? For me, it's just protein intake at the moment, because my protein intake is so high. And then after that, getting in carbs and fats is relatively easy. But then I also know that throughout the rest of the day we may be out and about, so I might end up like missing a meal if I wasn't to prep a meal, which in the context of today, I'm not really too bothered to like prep meals in Tupperware and bring it out with me, because it's just not necessary. I can just essentially kind of cram my current nutrition into 3 meals and 1 snack. So that's essentially the kind of approach I'm taking right here. And again, I just want to have a bagel with my breakfast. If I want to have a bagel with my breakfast, I can. I just have to account for it in other meals. I just can't have as much carbs in another meal, and that's completely fine. Estamos aquí. It is 4:45. I ate at 11. I left for the gym at 12. It's just as well not doing 5 meals a day. See, as I said, you always get held up doing unpredictable stuff. Went to the supermarket here, and in Spain, like, no shade if you're a Spanish viewer, but they're so fucking slow. Like, both the cashiers, both the people who are paying, just the pace at which they do things is just so fucking slow. So anyway, I'm back very late, so I'm having my post-workout meal now. So I'm having some cream of rice. So when I make cream of rice, I will make it and then put it in the fridge and eat it cold. The cream of rice I'm using is the complete strength caramel biscuit. It's very nice. So I just use 75 grams of the cream of rice, bit of sea salt, put in about 300 ml of water, and just put it in the microwave and just stir it until it gets to the consistency that I like. On top of it now, I am going to put on some whey paste using my chocolate egg explosion. Again, I'm still loving this flavour. And alongside that, we're going to have some frozen raspberries. We're going to have some 90% dark chocolate, and then some of this stuff. So if you follow my 2022 bodybuilding prep, you probably remember these from it's like crunchy almonds. I used to always put it on my pancakes. I put this over the pancakes with some maple butter, and oh my god, like this is like crack. So I am extremely hungry. I'm gonna put this all together. Porfine. So that's it there. Protein sludge. Put a bit of sea salt on it as well, just because it is extremely humid here. I soaked my t-shirt right through when I was training, so need to get that hydration in, you know. And part of hydration is not just how much water you're drinking, but how much electrolytes you're taking in, like the sodium, potassium. Well, the main one you're going to look to really replace when you are training is going to be sodium. And hydration is not just about, like, you know, how clear your urine is, although that is something to look out for. It's also how much water you're kind of retaining, okay? Because if you get to the point where like your urine's like way too clear, you're probably at the point of being overhydrated. You kind of want your urine to be kind of more of kind of cloudy lemonade type color versus apple juice, versus and as well, you don't want it to also look like water, right? So if it does have a little bit of a tint to it, that's probably a good sign that you are adequately hydrated. I'd say right now, if it did piss, it probably would be pretty much radioactive, because yeah, I'm definitely dehydrated after that session. Anyway, get this in, and then I think I'm gonna go for a swim. Good morning. So it is show day today for Emma. So with that, it is also a rest day for me, because she's going to be competing quite early. Hopefully she's going to be on stage about maybe 2 p.m. or so. Last time she was on stage at like 8 p.m, which is, as a competitor, it's really, really annoying when you're on that late. Like, I had a couple of shows when I did my season where I was on 7, 8 p.m, and they kind of, there's a couple of different things that are like annoying about it. It's like, obviously, most of the time, for most people, if you're peak's on right, you're probably gonna wake up in the morning like kind of like looking in and around your best, and then you're trying to manage that for like the entire day. You're also trying to stay out of your own head. You're trying to remain calm. You're trying not to remain stressed or to get stressed, because stress can essentially kind of make that look deteriorate quite quickly. And then you're micromanaging food, you're micromanaging water intake, and by the time you're at that point of prep as well, I know for me, by the time it comes to 8, 9 p.m, I am fast asleep. Your sleep gets so fucking bad in prep. Like, Emma's waking up these days like 4 a.m, not because she wants to, but just because that's what is happening with her body clock. And by the time she was on stage last time, like, she's going to bed at 8 p.m. these days, right? So she was on stage when she would usually be going to bed, which, you know, is definitely going to impact her showing up. Like, she definitely looks the best around kind of midday, so that's going to play to her advantage this time around. That she's going to be on stage around then. So with it being a rest day for me, because, you know, I'm not going to have time to train this morning, I'm just going to push it out to tomorrow. That means with food, I'm going a little bit lower in the carbs. So it was breakfast today, so same as yesterday, just minus the bagel and the cream cheese. I'm still going to have my oats after it, because I do like to have a great proportion of my carbs on a rest day, even at the front end of the day versus the latter end of the day. Like, I'm happy enough to have a no carb dinner. For a lot of people, they'll find that when they get to the evening time, they are the hungriest and they require, or they feel like they need the most carbs. And this sometimes is more so just a consequence of not eating much early on in the day. And I find this a lot with clients. Like, when I'm working with a client and they kind of come to me with this, once I look through the nutrition logs, I realize, okay, breakfast and lunch, they're not really having that much food. And then once we try to flip it and we try to get them to have a little bit more carbohydrates, a bit more protein in the morning, you know, bulk up that lunch meal, they find that those nighttime cravings or that need for a lot of energy in the evening time is not as needed. And as well, for a lot of people, when they get to the evening time and they're having these like high amount of calories that they need to hit, or this kind of these cravings, quite often doesn't lead to like the best food choices either. So I do find if you're struggling with those like kind of evening cravings, try to bulk up your meals at the front end of the day. You might feel, oh well, what if I bulk up my food at the front end of the day and the cravings are still there? Well, you know, maybe that happens like once or twice, and maybe then that's just kind of some indication that, okay, maybe for you definitely do have that like need for food later on in the evening, and maybe then the morning time approach is not for you. But if you try it and you're like, oh, you know what, I'm actually flipping my food around, I feel more energy now throughout the day, I feel like more consistency with energy during my training sessions, you feel like you've got better mental clarity, and you're able to adhere to your diet better overall, you're making better food choices, well, that's a net win, you know. So that's kind of why I do it, because again, I don't really care that much about having massive carbohydrate dense meals or sweet treats in the evening time. Again, I do like those foods, and on a high day I will, but on a day where I'm not having that many carbohydrates, I'm probably going to have most of them during the earlier portion of the day, because again, it makes me feel better, get more sustainable energy. So yeah, that's kind of why I do it. So I'm gonna get into this. We're gonna be leaving in like the next 30 minutes because Emma has to get her tan. So I'll bring you around the show, kind of show you some of the classes, because all of the bodybuilding, classic physique, figure, they're all gonna be on before Emma. So we'll probably get to see some cool people up on stage, or some amazing athletes up on stage, right?
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Back double bicep.
We have two competitors in this open class scene, so let's present number 122, Emma Kurrivan.
Let's go, Emma!
Yes, Emma!
Muchas gracias, Emma. Thank you very much. Your women's wellness open class C.
Forward turn to the right.
Let's go, Emma!
Forward turn to the right. Let's go, Emma! Forward turn to the right. Face front. Great job, ladies. Thank you.
Goes to number 165, Alexandra Cruz.
Let's go, Emma!
That means, ladies and gentlemen, Women's Open Class C champ, winner of the gold medal, is number 122, Emma Curryman. Congratulations. Open Class C winner 122 Emma Curlin, and Open Class C winner 123 Leah Lopez Puesto. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your women's wellness overall.
Quarter turn to the right.
Let's go, Emma!
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Face front. Face the back.
Come on, Emma!
Walk 4 steps.
Let's go, Emma!
Face front and walk back. Thank you, ladies. To the diagonal to your left.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Red or purple?
We have the pro cards and the winner ring, champions ring from Mr. Emilio Martinez and Tyler Mannion, the trophy, the crown, the bag, a lot of gifts for our new IFBB Pro. Are you ready, ladies? Ladies and gentlemen, 2025 EmPro Classic Pro Qualifier, Women's Wellness, new IFBB Pro, goes to number 118, Dalila Katie Rosa de Alberga.
Mother of God, I thought I was going to have a heart attack watching that. So, a little bit, well, not a little bit disappointed, majorly disappointed for Emma there, because usually when you go to a bodybuilding show and you're watching it, you can kind of tell placings depending on where they're standing in the stage. So typically when people are in the center, that's usually kind of a good sign that that person is probably going to come either first or second. And in the overall there, they had the 4 athletes up on stage, but they didn't move them at all. And the girl who won was actually on the very, very end. So it was kind of unusual in overall for them not to move. And the reason that they moved them essentially is obviously the head judge wants to be able to kind of see you know, the person who they're going to put in first place like the best, and they can't do that as well if they're off to the side. So, you know, just watching that there, I was like, Emma has it. Especially her back shot was amazing. Like I like, obviously again biased, I feel like her glute ham tie-ins are probably like the best of the bunch up there. But you know, obviously the judges didn't think the overall package was, you know, worthy of winnings. But I'm sure we'll be getting Tyler Mannion's opinion. So Tyler Mannion is Jim Mannion's son, who's the head of the IFBB, so he's judging as head judge there. And yeah, we'll figure out, you know, what she needs to do better. So I think she might be doing Portugal now in 2 weeks. So yeah, I have all my kind of cortisol drained now for the day. So yeah, I think now we might be going off to get food or something like that. But yeah, disappointing day. Happy she won the class, of course, because like obviously she had to win the class to get into the overall. Only having one other person in the class, so probably isn't like what Emma wanted, but at the end of the day, she got a gold medal. She was in the overall. She's that close. Didn't get to go out for my morning walk this morning. Only 3,000 steps done there at 2 or 3 p.m. We're going out for food this evening. I gotta get to work in. Fucking pumping sweat. A big part of traveling and, you know, going to events like this is just ensuring you're meeting your non-negotiables, you know. So you can't be perfect when you're traveling. It's hard to be perfect. You have to accept that you're not always going to be perfect. You have to accept that your routine's going to be a little bit off. Just the exact same way I mentioned that, like, you know, have 3 meals versus having 5 meals. Today, now time to have my morning walk. It's not ideal going out for an evening walk in Spain because it's much hotter, but it's got to be done. So getting them in, and then this evening we're out for food. So I'll kind of throw up on screen what I have planned in. So I mentioned earlier about, you know, having that like low carb breakfast, well, the bacon and eggs, no bagel, and having the oats alongside it, which I didn't record. The only other thing I've had to eat today has been a pot of Greek yogurt. Why pot of Greek yogurt? Hit my protein, get my protein levels up. Alongside that, had a tiny bit of dark chocolate, tiny bit of almond butter, some raspberries, again just a little bit of fats because today is meant to be a slightly higher fat day. Some raspberries for some fibre, and then that's pretty much all I'm going to eat today. I'll throw up on screen what I have ordered in my mind already from the restaurant. So when I'm going out to eat, this is the exact same thing I'll do, right? I'll have my breakfast likely as usual. My during the day meals, I'll aim for something that is just protein. Just try to hit my protein intake or get as close to it early on today, and then I'll plug in what I'm gonna have to eat in the restaurant. I'll look up the menu, choose what I want, and everything else fits around that. And that's as complicated as you really need to make it. And when you go out to eat, you stick to that plan, stick to the plan that you made yourself. So this evening, as you see there, I'm going to have some gyozas, some chicken wings, and then some fried rice and wok beef, right? Now the values that are there might not necessarily be 100% accurate, but I'm being accountable for them. And that's what matters, you know, being accountable, making the best decision for your goal, making sure you're keeping room for the flexibility. And, you know, like I am today, gonna celebrate Emma winning her class with some good people, and then tomorrow back to usual, back to the exact same thing. All right, I'm gonna finish off this walk, go for a swim because I'm sweaty as fuck. All going out for dinner.
Yeah. Octopus's feathers are on the thing. Tell you what it's saying, it's the hottest thing on the planet.
Spicy or just temperature?
No, but no temperature. It's like it's been cooked on the sun.
How are those?
Very nice.
You want me at home? You want like fried chicken?
Cheers.
My one vegetable today.
Hola.
Balcarte i mesa i les seues dames d'honor, Anna Giner Sala, Emma Estema.
Alright, we are back from stuffing our faces. How's your croissant?
It was good. I would give it like, I said 6.5, but maybe like 7.
Yeah?
Like it wasn't like the best sweet treat I've ever had, but it was nice.
The experience.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, yeah, it was very overstimulating.
Yeah, we had like a woman like essentially screaming while I ate my ice cream and she had her croissant, so wasn't too nice. How was your how do you find the day went?
Yeah, it was good. I'm happy
Yeah.
with how it went. Really happy looking at all the pictures. Like I feel like I looked like I belong up there, which is the most important thing.
She did.
And I know that I just have to be bigger, which I'll do that in 2 years.
Yeah, I guess we had people in front of us as well, like AJ Kelly Robert and then that other girl who's a wellness pro,
Yeah.
being like, yeah, she has it. So
Yeah,
that's reaffirming.
that's a nice thing to hear. So we go again in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
3
No.
weeks.
Anyway, so that's it for the vlog. Probably a more normal and boring vlog for the next one, but we'll have Portugal coming up in 3 weeks' time. So